I thought I was so tricky by putting up that intro.
Jenny White is ready to go. New technology.
And then I'm like, how do I get it down?
You're so tricky, you tricked yourself.
I'm so tricky, I tricked myself. I'm like, wait, that looks so great.
It did look good. Hey, maybe you can just set that for a certain amount of time. And then
I wonder if that's what it is. I'll have to go back and look at it. That outro is easy, or outroll is easy because it just stops when it's done, right? I mean, I don't have to worry about that, but I did put it on. Oh, I think I know what it was. I put it on a loop, and I may have to shut the loop off, and that may be how we get back in, but I'll have to try it again to see what happened. But I thought it was so cool. I mean, pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So what about your calling?
My calling?
You keep trying to set up the way to call.
I know. It's like one little I may have to buy a piece of equipment in order to get it to work, because it works and then it doesn't work. So I don't want to put the number up there and then all of a sudden people call in and the problem is we can hear them and I can't get the out of our video to go back into their phone properly. It's just some little routing deal.
I'm glad I'm not doing it, because I'm not even understanding what you're saying.
Yeah, it is very aggravating. It shouldn't be that hard.
What does that mean? In and out and all around.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Well, I mean, I think we'll get it down. I mean, yeah, we've had two years. You realize, right? We're going on our third year, aren't we?
I don't know. Has it been that long already?
I think so. Isn't that weird? Like, we're not at the end of the third year. I said, I think we're going into our third year, but I kind of think so. Wow, I may have to go back and check. We may have to have some kind of a party for all of our loyal listeners who have stuck through thick and thin with us and are like, yeah, well, so yeah, we may have to do that.
Hey, we can have that party at Okana.
We sure could. We could recognize all of our loyal viewers who never let us down. So I think that would be great, because we do have some great. So we've got Connie and Julia's already on, and Lisa was bright and early. So we've got all our wonderful viewers on already. We have a great show today. I'm not going to overtalk Dayna, because she knows all about it. She's the one who's been putting all of this together. But how many times do you talk to people and they have no idea about any of the legislation that's being passed on the Capitol? They're like, no way they did that. And you're like, yeah, way. Oh my gosh, that just reminded me of the most hysterical meme thing I ever saw, which was a picture of Jesus. And he says, no way. And then the next frame says Yahweh.
Speaking of memes, I need to get back on my Jenny White meme kick and get memes on every show.
No, I'm good with that. We can.
Especially think about all this AI now, Jenny. I can kick these things out with AI in a matter of, while you're talking, I can just take a screenshot, meme it, put it up here.
I think we should take the no AI challenge. And I think it should be you that takes it. You should say, I'm challenging myself not to use AI, and certainly not to use it.
Yeah.
Shelly got it. I love that. Have you not seen that one? It is so funny.
I haven't seen it.
And see, I'm laughing again this morning. It's like laughter is the best medicine. I think that's why I'm doing so well today. I really do feel like I'm doing well. But I do think, not taking medication helps a lot. Yes, you challenge yourself. I do feel like I'm not all fuzzy because I'm taking stuff. Yeah. And the pain really hasn't been that bad. I mean, there are times that I really am not all that comfortable, but for the most part, it really hasn't been that bad. And I'm now walking up and down the steps. It's not beautiful. I mean, it's pretty ugly. But wow. I'm doing it. So there you go.
Like I told Katie, when fire season rolls around, you'll be ready to go.
Dude, that's why we had it done now. So that when March comes around, when I'm having to run away from flames. All right. So you say, hey, do you know about this legislation? And people don't know. And the thing about legislation I think it's probably the worst thing about legislation, don't you, Michael, is that it's so hard for people to find it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You're an old pro, and there's people like you that really look at legislation and constantly watchdog it. I don't have time to do that. I don't have, if I can have some kind of shortcut or whatever, let's not say AI, for legislation, but, if I can have some type of, guide that can, give me, let me know what's happening. That would be fantastic, because I just do not have time to be watching those guys like we should, admittedly, wrongfully, probably.
Well, but I don't know that that's true. And like Connie said, she's excited to hear about it. And John, thank you. I am bending my knee. I promise I'm doing all of my exercises every day. So let's bring on Dayna and have her tell us kind of what's going on, because Dayna Mooney is the best. She's the best. She's our Moms for Liberty. What are you, chair people? Is that how it works?
So I'm the chair of Canadian County, but I'm the chair of the state committee as well.
Oh, okay. Nice. The state committee of Moms for Liberty, or the state GOP committee?
The state committee for Moms for Liberty, Oklahoma.
Okay, got it. Okay, yes. All right. And now I understand fully. So you brought this to a bunch of us. And unfortunately, you kind of brought it to me right at the bad moment where I was fixing to undergo all this gunk on my knee. But so explain what it is that you found first. Let's just start there, and then let's build from there.
So over the summer, I was introduced to this program from Moms for Liberty National. We'd been looking for something that would help make our job easier as far as legislation and being able to just track it. Because for those of us who were in it, you've got to go to the House side, to the Senate side, and then you got to find it, right? Because finding it is more than half the battle, right? So this came about over the summer. We had started talking to a developer in Louisiana who had put together a program that would basically be a one-stop shop for grassroots groups to come together to support, to like or dislike legislation. And for me, it kind of resembled last session we did coalition letters, specifically on Senate Bill 224. Yes. We had multiple coalition letters that went out. And so this kind of reminds me of a digital version of what we're trying to do. Now, this will also, it brings it in from both sides, the Senate and the House. You'll be able to have links to committee meetings. I mean, it is literally going to be a one-stop shop for us.
So this, because I'm having a hard time figuring out how that's going to kind of give me an idea of what that looks like.
Well, as far as on the front end, I mean, you log into a website and everybody could log into it. It's an open to the public, website. Let me see. You want me to share that now?
Oh, yeah, if you can.
Okay.
You should be able to share it from your side. Because it's honestly, when you first told me about it, I wasn't getting there. I wasn't quite following. I was like, how do you track all of that in one place? That doesn't even, I'm not quite getting it. Okay. So walk us through this.
So this is a website that is currently live in Louisiana. They used it in their last session. So ours would look very similar to this, obviously, except it would say Oklahoma. It would have our legislators, our groups. And on this website, you see where they talk about partners. Those are groups. Any of the groups that decide to join in on this that want to have the ability to grade bills.
You make that a tiny bit higher by going inside your web browser screen and hitting that button up.
Up or down?
Up. You're going to want to make it go up so we can see it just a little bit better. No. Inside your browser screen. What browser are you using?
Are you wanting her to make it bigger, Jenny?
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah, hit Control Plus.
Dayna, oh, that's good. Thank you
on the
Michael.
screen.
You're always so
and that'll
good at that.
blow it up.
Okay.
Will it? I don't know what I just did.
Like
Jenny, I'm not very technical like you are.
Wait, no. I couldn't get the roll off this morning. So really? Wait, Robert says, Control Plus zooms in on the screen. There you go. You got it. Look at you.
Oh, look at me. Yay.
Look at you. Well done. Okay, so now bigger? Let's go through this. Yes, much better. Now I can actually read it.
Okay. All right. So on the screen, you see where it talks about partners. Partners are any of the groups that want to join in on this to have the ability to grade bills throughout the session. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to grade every bill. They could grade bills that are just specific to their mission, right? Every group that we work with is usually a specific area if they wanted to, or I mean, they could go in and grade every bill if they wanted to. That's completely up to that group. But so this is the homepage of this program. And you can see that it is an overall view of the session. How many bills, how many floor votes were tabulated. And then we can go a little further down. And you can see the House and Senate members.
They have a teeny tiny Senate, don't they? Compared to us anyway.
Yeah. You can see the bills that they had, the floor votes that were called, the total votes that were tabulated. And so their session is obviously over as of now, but this is from their 2025 session.
Okay.
And then we can go down a little bit more, and then it'll tell you roll call votes per day by chamber. And they're obviously color coded. You'll be able to go in there if you wanted to and see, what those votes are for the day on those, whatever bills were heard that day, obviously.
So hold on, wait 1 second. Yeah. So is that accumulation of all the votes? That graph is accumulation of all the votes that were taken on that session day?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes. And then our featured bill section will look different than what this looks like, obviously. It won't necessarily be insurance reform package. It would be set up as something else. It could be, if these groups have specific bills they're watching, like if Senate Bill 224 was one of them, then we could have listed that under a featured bill that we are following. So one of the features that we're going to have added is a text or email alert that if there's a change to a bill that you've chosen as that you've graded or as a featured bill, you will get updates on that. Any changes of any kind.
You don't have to keep going and looking at it constantly?
Nope.
or expecting LENS, which is the Oklahoma legislature, kind of what this does. It's kind of sort of like what this does. If you do LENS, it will tell you, it will send you an email basically if you sign up for it. But the problem is I signed up for LENS and I don't get the stuff that I'm supposed to be getting.
Oh, I got them. I was inundated with emails from that anytime there were changes. Now it wasn't exactly, it's usually about 24 hours or so. It's not, very quick as far as the updates for me anyway. But this, we can set it to where it will update us and go through and check them hourly during session so that we can get updates that way.
Nuh-uh. Love that so much. Okay, keep going.
All right, so I want to go into committees, and you'll see there's a link here, and then there's a one at the top, of course. But now what I'm showing you is the public side of the website, so that anybody in the public can join, or I'm sorry, log in, type this in there, and go to this website. And they'll be able to see what I'm showing you right now. Okay. So legislators will be able to go to this website. They can have it already on their browser. They can go in there each day and see where the groups are at on all of the bills. So, for example, we have legislators who go, there's just too many bills. We can't get through them. It's impossible for us to get through all those bills before 9 o'clock the next morning. So I'm just going to ask my neighbor how to vote. Well, in many cases, their neighbor is not working for the people, unfortunately. So they're going to tell them the wrong way to vote, which is not helping us any.
Depends on your perspective, right?
Correct. Yes. Yes, exactly. All right. So on this committee dashboard, you see where it says scheduled meeting. So anything for that day that was scheduled would show up there for that day. It'll also include a link for you to go to that live video during that committee meeting. Now, for any of us who've watched committee meetings, it's, again, difficult to get to the right meeting, to know what's on the day, to get to that meeting. This is, we'll have it right here. You just click it. You could go in and look. Now, if you miss it and you need to go back, then you still have the capability to, let's just go into this. Okay, so here's this particular committee. It tells you who is part of that committee. It does the color coding for you, Republican, Democrat. So on our, what Oklahoma has now is the voting sheet, right? Where it has all the yays and the nays and the absent. Okay.
Yeah, but good luck finding that.
Right. But it also doesn't tell you what party they're with. Like many of us have an idea of who the party is, right? But we don't necessarily know that. And if we're trying to bring in some, new people to help or just interested, then you're going to go crazy trying to figure out which side of the aisle they're on. So this will alleviate that for you, telling you whether they're a Republican or a Democrat or, whatever party they're with. And it also gives you this, sort of key down here to tell you who the chair is, who the vice chair is, and the committee members, etc. Now, this one, obviously, they're not in session, so there's not any bills, but there's currently.
Yeah, but when you go back a second, go back to the screen before that.
Okay.
Because I saw something that I absolutely what?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, now look. Bill Sorry, apparently my Wi-Fi is acting up this morning. How many times do you go to a committee and then think, well, I haven't even heard anything on this bill. Are they even going to hear it? And so you don't even know how many bills are out there that committee is going to be hearing. I think that's great where it says pending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's going to, for me, I believe it's going to save us quite a bit of time of just the navigation, right? The logistics of everything, of trying to find those committee meetings and what bills are in those committees.
Right.
So now I want to say all this to say that we are.
Wait, hold on. I got to say this because this is funny. Where's the purple color?
That's right.
And I have
Well,
to say this one because this one just cracked me up. This Shelley is on a roll this morning. Doesn't include any commentary from U.S. Senator John.
wouldn't it though?
Make
Yes.
it awesome, like a bot that uses his voice as the legislation. Good.
No, none of that yet, but that maybe could come later. Who knows?
That's great. That's so funny. I'm sorry for interrupting. I
Yeah,
just thought that was
no.
hysterical. Go ahead.
So all of this stuff is built on the fact that, and this is all built by, the code, all the coding behind it, right? So it's only as
Yeah.
good as the people who are entering it at the Capitol, right? So if they've entered it like they're supposed to in a timely manner, then the program is able to grab it to update our side efficiently, which is, which typically they are pretty good at it. I don't know that we've had a whole lot of issue with, those types of delays, but this all is certainly dependent on that being able to be grabbed, and as I said during session, this will be scheduled to update every hour. So, um, so
Oh, man.
there's, yeah. So, um,
Do we
these are
even
all
want to know what they're doing every hour?
probably not, but at least we'll have a clear picture or almost a full picture here, I guess, right? Um, but this will, like I say, this will be each day. You could go into the website and it'll tell you which committees are scheduled that day. You click the link, you want to watch it. If you want to go back later, you can still click on the committee and you'll be able to go back and watch older or, earlier that day's recordings.
And these are all just are going to link straight to our own legislative database, correct? I mean, like
Correct.
they're not archiving these things on this side. It's just a shortcut to go to whatever you're looking for on the actual House or Senate side website.
Correct. It'll pull
Okay.
everything from the House side, the Senate side, and Legiscan into this website.
Nice.
So, like in some of our groups, we have different people who sign up to watch specific committees, right? Like if they're only on this one committee or however, then this will now give them that direct link and they're not having to go in and find it every single day that committee is in a meeting, that they're having a meeting. So this will make it so much easier for them and maybe be able to help us get more people in to watch those committee meetings. Because I think some of that is where we really need help at is people watching committees. Of course, watching the bills is always needed. But that's very intimidating for people because it's all the legalese that they use in the bills. So, but at the very least, having more people be able to quickly access committee meetings, I think will be great.
Well, knowing where to find them.
Absolutely.
Because again, I think it takes a special type of person to really want to follow this stuff, and God bless you if you are. But I can say that I do think more people would do it if it were easier to do.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
like you said, Michael, really, you got all that time that, hold on, I got to go to this site and then scroll down and see if I can't find this, but then it's not here, but then I have to go to that. And then I do think if people had that one-stop shop, I think we'd see more people getting involved.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's about the committees, and then
Ellie
I want
makes
to go.
a good point too. I think the daily updates would be great for precinct chairs, because then those precinct chairs can take the daily updates and shoot them out to their precincts and then let them know what's going on. I think that's a great point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, any way to make that easier for us to get that out, I think is even better. One of the things that we've been talking about is adding a news tab, at the top to where, because there's so many people who write about specific legislation or the half truths, that are being put out there, to have that place where people can go see that information from this site. We can bring it all, to one place. There's so many Substacks and podcasts and things that people are watching that it's just another way to kind of bring it to one place so that people can see that information too. Because I mean, people are deceived every day to think that many of these legislators are working for them. And I mean, we've seen the mailers that have come out. We've seen, bills that they're saying was a huge success when it was just a show bill, those types of things.
Entner Drummond, fighter, leader,
Mhm.
Oklahoman.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like to keep those.
And he's friends with Trump. That's what we always hear, like, oh,
Oh
we
yeah.
stand with Trump. Yes. Oh, goodness.
Let's not discuss how
So,
many boneheaded suggestions for any well, how many times has he endorsed people and you're like, who did you just endorse?
Well,
So,
and I got to get in, Jenny. Let's not forget that he's leaving little Lincoln behind. He doesn't have an issue leaving little Lincoln behind.
yep.
you're talking about Lincoln Lockman, the
Correct.
baby that Oklahoma DHS stole from their parents.
Correct.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
She is on a roll today, getting her some potato. Shelly. Okay, my goodness, that's hysterical. Okay, so now let's keep going.
All right. So the next thing I want to show you is the partners page or the groups page as far as what that looks like on the public side. So these are partners of this that use this website.
Oh,
you can
interesting.
So you get an idea of what the groups, each group leader will be entered in the system, their logos updated, uploaded, and then they have their own logins and they will go in each day and they will choose the bills that they want to grade. They choose what they want in their section of the website. And so then like on Louisiana Freedom Caucus, we've got all the bills that they've scored, and then how many aligned legislators they have based on their voting history. So, and then let me see here. You can always go to view the details on each partner or group. And then it will, like I said, you can enter a website, or in this case, they entered a Substack that you can also follow or check out for more, that they might be putting out. Kind of their little about section. Everyone chooses their own. This is not something that's chosen for them. We want this to be pretty independent, where you can just come in, do your own thing. You choose the bills you want to grade. That's completely up to each individual group, how they want to do that. On this, you see where they have the top aligned legislators for the session. It says that the top aligned legislators are sorted by a weighted score aligned with the total votes. Authorship and co-sponsorship are also factored in to these percentages, or the numbers that you see here. Here's the percentages down here. And in this case, it looks like this particular legislator is the most aligned with the Louisiana Freedom Caucus. Now, all these groups are going to look different based on the bills that they're grading and all that's taken into consideration on this, but it's automatically done where you can see that. Okay, so then you'll see all the bills that they scored and what their recommendation was. Here are, you can go to details on the bill, and it gives you more information on the author, gives you a short description of what the bill is, and then who supported it, who opposed it, and anybody that was neutral. So their official bill page is, what ours would be when they go to, it'll take you directly to the bill in our system currently, with whether it's the Oklahoma, whichever, the House or the Senate side will take you directly to it. But obviously this is for them, but it will be ours that it will take them directly to. So again, they're not having to go search the House or the Senate side. It will take them directly to the bill in that section. Okay. And then here's the actual bill. Am I showing? No, I'm not. Sorry, just kidding. Share this one. There. Sorry.
Control plus, control plus, control plus.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the actual bill that we, would find over there. So you don't even have to click the link that take you to the official bill page. At the bottom, you can have a link that takes you directly to the bill itself. So, and if you're like, so for me, I print out bills and I review them, I highlight and I
Yeah.
make notes and, you know, all those
Five.
things. Yeah.
High five.
But not everybody does that. Not everybody has time to do that. There's other people use different ways of, reviewing legislation, how they review it. We do have some legislators who reach out to us to help them, um, you know, with reviewing the bills. We understand that it's likely by, some sort of design that they get stuck with, 100 plus bills the next day that they have to go through and they don't get out till 8 o'clock the night before. So this is another way for them. I also want to point out that on the committee hearings, um, you can go to their agenda, and I'll make this bigger. It'll show you the agenda for the day, like we would find if we went through House or the Senate.
Do you know how necessary that is? Because people are always asking me, well, how do you find the agenda? And I'm like, okay, well, here's what you do. You find the email for the person in the House and in the Senate, because they're two different people who are mailing out those lists. And then you have to email them and ask them, Mother, may I get onto your list so that I can get the agendas as they're sent out? What a pile of BS.
Yeah. It will also have a link that takes you directly to the video, which is here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it, tells you how long it
Nice.
is. You just go right to it from there. And then there's also a tab on here about roll call that is also where you can go for the roll call and the record vote on this particular bill.
Okay, so John Boy has a question. Is there any way to send multiple emails to the legislature? Because the way it is now in Oklahoma, you have to do a copy paste for everybody and it takes hours. So is there a way to do that? How does that work? That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Did he stump you?
He did, yes.
Okay, don't let him know that because
oh no, I can't give him that satisfaction. So as far as from this program, there's nothing built in like that. That's certainly something that we could talk about with the
you might
developer
put that
and the
on your
team.
list because I'm with John. I think that's a really, if you could just go and say, Bing, I've read this. I want to send a list to all of the people on that, or I want to send an email to all of the people on that committee. That would kind of, that would be such a big.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You not to say anything.
Oops. Let's see here.
And I hate to almost say that because what you've done and what you found, honestly, Dayna, that's just huge. I do see this as having a possibility of really kind of being a game changer going into next legislative session, trying to get people who have been sitting on the sidelines going, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And then, I think just having a tutorial on this would really help. And we probably need to once you're ready for us to go, because we do have to point out another thing. You do need to raise some money. So let's get to that in a second. But once you do that, then I think what we need to do is do a tutorial and then put it up, on the road page, and then everybody can share it off of that.
Yeah. Okay. Robert's got a good question there too, Jenny.
Oh, okay. What determines what an organization is, like Citizens for Louisiana?
So they're nonprofits that as far as what Citizens of New Louisiana is, they're a nonprofit that formed to fight transparency and accountability because they have the same problems like we do here. There's no one being held accountable. There's no transparency of any kind as far as our legislators. I mean, they're okay with conflicts of interest abound. So, and we have the same problem here that they have there. And so that's why that group started, was just for that purpose, to fight back against the same
I think
thing
what
that we're
he
having here.
means, and check me if I'm wrong, Robert,
Yeah.
but I think what he means is, can I be a group? Can Rope Report be a group? Could Robert, like he is our data guy that's with the homeschoolers. So
Yes.
could the homeschoolers have a group?
Absolutely. And I've sent them some information regarding this particular platform. So if they are a group, they don't, I mean, if they are an established group of, whatever they call themselves, they're absolutely welcome to join in on this. There's no specific criteria as far as that goes.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. He
sorry, Robert. No.
And then I guess, Dan, also on just another avenue of that, who vets those groups? Like, can anybody just make a group, or what if there's a real left group or something that wants to utilize this for their purposes also? I mean, is that
I vet the groups.
okay?
Yeah.
There's the answer to that question.
I may have some help doing that, sure, but for me, like I will be the one vetting the groups as they, want to come in. And like I said, I may have help doing that later, but initially it will just be me.
So here's the important distinction. I think this is where we might be losing people. Anybody can see the website, right?
Correct.
And anybody can see it.
Correct.
But in order for you to use the website and be one of the groups that's grading bills, be one of the groups that's communicating with legislators, you have to be vetted by you.
Correct.
By Dayna.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So hold on. Storybook has a good question too. Would you be able to filter bills just by the group grading it? Say Movement 32 graded and highlighted 40 bills out of hundreds, and someone just wanted to see those bills I weighed in on. Can you filter like that?
Yes. So under your partner, like we just showed about the partners, right? You saw all the bills that they graded.
Yeah, throw that back up again so
Okay.
people can see it while you're talking.
Okay.
Except you have frozen.
Maybe. Yes.
Come back to us, Dayna. Why did you freeze? This is so weird. Michael, you're the resident expert. Why is she frozen?
I don't know. Must just be a Wi-Fi or speed deal. Hopefully she doesn't have to go out and come back in. Maybe she does.
Oof, I hope not. Are you there at all, Dayna?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so
Yeah,
she's there.
It may kick back on here in just a second.
I hope so.
Yeah. I can go out and come back in if you want.
Have you put that screen share up yet?
No, because that's frozen over here too.
Oh no.
Oh, it is.
You may have to go out and come back in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go out and come back.
Just go out and come back in, and then
well,
put it.
I'm gonna remove you, and then you just come back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
Possibly. And of course, Katie says the group gate is in good hands. And Katie, if she has time, may come in just a little bit so we can talk about some stuff going on in Oklahoma education.
Did Dayna say, Jenny, was this software, did like Moms for Liberty specifically have someone write this software? They just found it.
No, she just found it. I don't remember what she told me, what the background was about her finding it, but she found it and then I guess reached out to the guy and said, hey, can you make this for us? Can we make this for us?
So Dayna actually found this.
Correct.
Herself, not like the larger organization, Moms for Liberty. Dayna found it as a tool and is now going to implement it. Probably for Moms for Liberty and, for obviously for Oklahoma, for us.
Well, and I don't know what, she must be having some kind of a Wi-Fi thing. So, before she gets back in and she can, oh, there she comes. Okay. There she is. Hello again. I was going to start talking, but I didn't want to without you. Okay. So go ahead and see if you can throw that up and let's go back to where we were.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can. Yep.
Oh, let me make it bigger though.
Yes. Control plus.
How's that? Too big?
Good.
Yeah.
Bingo.
All right. So on the partners page, where this is where all the groups will be. So, so we'll go to one of maybe, okay.
Okay.
So you see the groups here. So we'll go to view details of that particular group. This is just for the Freedom Caucus in particular for
Okay.
Louisiana. All right. So we see their page. Okay. There's a link that, they'll be able to copy and paste at the top for their page. And this will
Okay.
only show the bills they've graded. All of these
Okay.
bills down here
Yeah.
are bills that that group has graded. And that's the only ones that will show there based
Okay.
off that group. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Chime back in, Robert, if that wasn't what. Or wait, were we trying to answer Storybook's question about being
Yeah.
able to filter? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that answered it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the answer is there will be a link.
Correct.
And you give the people a link.
Yeah, they can go up and copy and paste that link and share out on their own group pages or, emails, wherever they would want to send that out, specific to the bills that only they've graded, no others.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room on this.
Mm-hmm.
Is this free?
No, this is not free. This will cost $10,000 to bring to Oklahoma. Now, I will say that that's a lot of money, right? I mean, none of us have money trees out back as much as we'd like, but we did have this quoted by someone
I don't know.
else.
The governments seem to have money trees. So,
Well,
yeah.
Yes. Those are taxpayer trees.
Yeah.
So we did have somebody quote this for us that was here also in Oklahoma, and they quoted us 30 to 40,000 to create the same thing that they'd have to go back and basically reinvent the wheel on. Because the developer in Louisiana is the one who developed the program. He's the one who does all the coding on the program. And he will also be the one who handles any of our, our updates, our maintenance. Now, that will get us through this session and any features that we want added, and for Oklahoma specifically. And then we believe that there will be updates maybe for the following sessions, that we may have to purchase at that point. But that's as far as it is at the moment. But it will be $10,000 to bring it to Oklahoma. The goal for us is to have it here ready for me to begin entering groups, partners uploading those logos is December 1st. So that every group can get in there and be ready for the bills as they start coming out mid to late December.
Right. Yeah. Purple Rhino says that should be fun showing how the rhinos voted. I really do think so. I'm going to walk through a scenario and you tell me if I'm right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I can see myself signing up as rope report since we try to, report on bills. And then following certain bills, like, because we know SB 224 is going to come back up because the Chamber of Commerce is still in existence. So it's going to come back up and I'll have it on my page. And as I follow it, I can just send out updates to either via my email. And if you're not on our email, go to rope2.org and then sign up for our email. And I used to do them weekly, and wow, after the fire and everything happened, I got so off this year and I've never gotten back on. But if you sign up, then I can send them out an email alert and say, hey, this is happening. And I can put it up on the socials. And so I'll have kind of almost real time way to inform viewers about what's going on. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Karen says, we need this in Oklahoma. I would agree. And Storybook says, so we need 10,000 patriots to donate $1 each. And I love the way she said that. I mean, you put the $sign on there, which I don't think you meant. But I think that's a really great point. I think there are so many things today that demand our pocketbooks. And I know that so many of us have been used to like writing a check to the RNC and going about our day, right? Or writing a check to Oklahoma County and going about our day, or, you know, fill in the blank. I mean, so many of us have not been necessarily participating, but then also, you know, writing checks. So I understand that there's a lot of things to take our dollars away from us, and I get that. I mean, I'm not kidding. I totally get that. But until we get a handle on legislation, there's just simply no way that we're going to win. I mean, we're getting good people elected is going to help us win for sure. I mean, Dayna, right? But keeping track of the legislation is what's really going to help, because so many times we don't even know what goes on down there until it's too late. So, I mean, to me, this is like, you know, a no-brainer. And I'm challenging everybody. I'm going to throw in $100 today and send it to Dayna. So I'm pledging you at least $100 right now toward getting this coming here. And then I just throw Dayna whatever you can. Do you want me to put your phone number too?
Yeah, that's fine.
You sure?
No.
Yeah, let's just do email.
Yeah, let's do email.
Yeah.
And so we will have a link that goes live later today that we will also be sharing out as far as where you can send your donations to help us in raising the funds for this program. Because I think even if you are not a partner in this, it is still benefiting all of us in fighting against this, right? So it makes us better at what we're trying to accomplish, because even once we get these, you know, flip these seats, get good people in there, they still are going to need our guidance. And this is a great way, I think, for us to be able to do that. One thing I forgot to mention is in the partners under the group section. So under each bill, they will also be able to go in and enter notes, or like a Cliff Notes version of that bill if you want. Like after you go through and read the bills and you go through it, you can tell them like what it really is in a description. And each group will be able to check a box of whether or not they want that comment to be public or private. Okay. And some may want to use it as notes for themselves, right? Because we read so many bills and we want to give ourselves a Cliff Notes of what that bill was without having to go back and reread the bill. But there are some groups who will want those to be public. And as people are logging in, legislators, et cetera, are logging in, they'll be able to see that information, not logging in, as they go to the public side of the site, they'll be able to see those notes as well. So. Yeah, and we would like all the groups that want to be a part of this, we are asking them to donate as far as joining us. We want all this to be for all of us. We don't want one group to come in and then we are, you know, indebted to a particular group to try to come in and say, well, I paid for this, so you have to do what I say. That's not at all what I'm trying to do here. I want all of us to have a piece of this because it is for us, the people, to fight back.
But you only need 100 people to give $100, you know, and I don't think that's the end of the world. I mean, I don't think it is. And then, like you said, it's very diffuse, and it's not as though somebody can come in and, you know, pound the table and say, well, this is mine and we're doing it my way. Well, no, BS. I mean, we're all part of this. So Karen says, let's inform voters while holding legislators accountable. And I do believe she summed it up super well. I think that's exactly what this system would do. And Connie says it'd be able to utilize our power. And Storybook says, yeah, can edit the $sign. And so the way basically, oh, and that's a good idea too. Ask all the movement 32 people to donate $32. I mean, I think for sure that's a easy peasy lemon squeezy. I think we can get that done. It's the beginning of the month. So hold on, I lost your email, and there it is. So have people email you, right? And say, I'm interested in donating.
If you're interested in joining us as a partner, if you would like to donate, certainly email me. And then once that link goes live, I'll send it to you directly as well as we post it to the public. Jenny's going to help us get it on her website. So if you go on her website, it'll be there.
The
But it'll be
libertyoklahoma.org website.
and it will be we'll get it out as anywhere that we can, and just ask you to share it. So we appreciate that very much.
So, love the notes function, Dayna. I think it's important to give a simplified breakdown of bills to the public. And I do think,
Absolutely.
yeah, I that's the other thing, because people get so, and I will say that's one of the things that we're going to do at the Liberty Oklahoma convention. So hopefully you guys are signing up for that. At the Liberty Oklahoma convention, we will have a segment on how to read legislation. So
Yes.
if you're not really sure, oh, look at this, the purple rhino will donate.
Yay. Yes, I will. I'll get that link out just like I say this afternoon, and we can get that going and get this going. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great tool for us to use, and make us more efficient. I mean, we're going into 2026 election, so I know many people are busy with that, and so I'm hoping that this helps us really be able to do both.
So our friend Katie's going to be on it here in a second, and I have to get up and move my knee for just a minute. So I'm going to have to get off for just a minute, and Katie's going to be on with you. And then when I finish getting up and getting my legs straightened back out again, then I'll get back on here in a second. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about too today is, oh my gosh, all the stuff that's going on in Oklahoma education in 5 minutes.
Well, and then let's not forget the blackout of the Oklahoma ethics
No.
guardian
Bring
system.
that up while we're waiting
Yeah.
on Katie. Bring that up.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. I can do that. So much going on.
But that's the thing. I do think, while you're pulling that up, let me say this. I do think that this thing that you found, I think that thing is so important, because oh my gosh, there is constantly something going on. How do you keep any of this going in a forward direction when you're trying to go in 40?
I don't know. It gets really frustrating. For me, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but
No,
for
it's
me,
I think it's for everybody. I think that's part of the
yeah.
reason why people don't do anything. And Katie, our friend Katie, is on. Good morning. How are you, Miss Katie?
Morning.
I am good. How are you?
Well, I'm going to step off for just 1 second. So thank you for coming in, and you and Dayna can talk about that, and then I'll be right back.
Hi, Dayna. How are
Hi.
you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I want to share my screen with a piece of your work. Let me make sure I get the right thing here. And I'm going to add it to the stage. This is actually your press release about Walters no longer being our state superintendent of education. And I thought maybe we could talk about that, because we're hearing a lot from the media in celebration, but there hasn't been any talk about how parents feel about this.
Mm-mm.
And
Which is usually the case. I mean, they don't. It's about, well, how many celebrations have we seen? Multiple celebrations that I've seen anyway. Businesses, celebrating, mini groups, education establishment types, those types.
Exactly. And at the morning following his public resignation, at the board meeting, it was, if you were there, what happened before and after. I'm getting ready to put out a piece about behind the scenes at that board meeting, which tells viewers about, parents, everything they need to know that's not being said in the media. So talk to me a little bit about this press release, because you really brought up some concerns for the future with him not being there.
Oh, well, I mean, our concerns are, probably what many others share. I mean, of course, wondering who was going to be put in there, right? And whether or not they were going to be an advocate for parents or the illusion of a parent advocate, because, kind of like what we're seeing in the candidates who are running for state super, many of them claim that they support parent rights, but then on the next page, they talk about workforce development, and we've seen workforce development and what that really means for our kids and parent rights. It really goes back to Senate Bill 224 as far as us trying to get something in there for parents. And it was absolutely disregarded, wouldn't be considered whatsoever, no matter how far we got in the process. And so our concern is here just really this similar, concerns as far as where are the parents going to fit in? Are they going to be pushed out? Because that was really something that, Ryan Walters seemed to focus on was parents being involved, parents knowing what was going on in the schools and, protecting them from the predators within the schools. So, which I think is just concerns that many parents are having at this time.
Yeah. So Karen, who's listening, said the groomers were ecstatic, and that
Absolutely.
was a really interesting revelation at the meeting on Thursday. So the last 5 minutes of the meeting tell us everything that we needed to know. In the last 5 minutes of the meeting, the board members who've been recently appointed by STIT and observably to come up against Walter's agenda asked for another special meeting because they were concerned that we were holding up the livelihoods of teachers who are under investigation for misconduct. There was not one mention in the back and forth that then ensued when Walters refused, said, I'm not putting people back in that we are investigating for such things. In the back and forth, none of those board members ever said the word parents, and none of them said anything about concern for kids until Walters brought up, you're not concerned for kids, you're concerned for the adults here.
But I thought they were giving Ryan Walters a hard time about not caring about kids and putting kids first. And, and maybe they'll get someone in there that actually cares about kids and can get us back on track. This is the things that we're hearing, right? But their actions they always speak louder than their words all the time. So, and we see it within some of these suspensions, revocations, for some of these teachers. And we've got a couple that we know of who are on a pending status while they're trying to, finagle ways to allow them back in the classroom. So,
so an interesting word was brought up in those last 5 minutes of the meeting that speaks exactly to what you're talking about. Michael Tinney, who is the husband of Ginger Tinney, who runs one of the two teachers unions in the state, slipped in the word discipline to the conversation in reference to those who are being investigated for misconduct concerning kids. And he said about whether we're disciplining them. So there is a new wave, and I am aware of and confirm of cases since this new board came into effect where they are returning folks who've been accused of sexual misconduct, I can confirm, to the classroom under increased supervision and so-called discipline. So that Michael Tinney said the word himself. This is what I believe that they're pushing over revocations of certifications and keeping them out of the classroom forever. So it appears that STIT has deeded this board over to the interests of the education unions.
Sadly, yeah.
It does. But I thought it was an excellently worded press release because you bring up parents. What are parents to think of all this, and who's going to give parents back their rights in this process? Correct. In a lot of ways, do you think that this war against Walters, they've really personified it? It has this sort of Trumpian thing going on where they hate him so much, but it's really just an excuse for not tolerating parents within the public education process.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, why would you want to have parents involved if you can get their money and tell them to go take a long walk off a short pier? Just asking for the peanut gallery over here. Well, and then, Julie makes a really good point here. So does anybody want to talk about the new person?
who may be taking Walter's seat?
Oh, I think it's official now, isn't it?
I think it was announced yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
Go ahead, Jenny. Give us everything you know.
Does anybody have that, or should I pull it up?
I don't have it open at
I
the
don't
moment.
have it.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Hold on. I'm getting it. Hang on.
Well,
But I do have a very close source, Jenny, that is close to that guy, and I'll see if they will talk to us.
Wow. Who's really?
Yeah, like really good friends with them. Or with
Well,
him.
I'm going to be interested to hear about that, because several of us were going back and forth. His name is Lyndall Fields is his name. So let me pull up a little bit of information about Lyndall Fields.
okay.
Because apparently AI is so great, it still thinks our superintendent is Ryan Walters.
Right. Just like
Job,
I told you,
AI.
when I brought you the
sorry.
DHS predator the other day, it assured me that she couldn't possibly be the mental health.
See, that all
provider.
depends on which AI you're using. You got to use the right one.
Apparently so.
Okay. So here is somewhere. All right, there it is. So Lyndall Fields is he was, I'm sure this is the right guy, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
So Lyndall Fields was the superintendent and CEO of Tri-County Tech. And he began his career in the Oklahoma Department. Good Lord, help me. Oh my
You
goodness.
may want to make that just a little bit bigger, Jenny, for everybody.
Okay, hold on. Control plus. How's that?
Better.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
you know I can't see my screen if I'm on this page. Yeah. So this was from Bartlesville. Obviously, it says 2021. So in 2021, he was the superintendent and CEO of Tri-County Tech. Began his career in the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education System. At the age of 20, an instructor in horticulture. Promoted to director of instruction to supervise the prison training programs at site across Oklahoma. Then he was the assistant director at Central Tech in Drumright. He was Tri-County Tech Board of Education superintendent and CEO, where he has successfully given tens of thousands of students life-changing learning experiences with his 30-year career in education until his retirement on June 30th. So this is who the new guy is. And let me see if I can, there was a picture of him. This is he. This is from LinkedIn.
So, you know, my thing is connecting dots.
No, not
And
yours.
I'm gonna connect a few for you. Just this is more of a trend that we're seeing in the forces that have taken back control of Oklahoma public education. So at last Thursday's meeting, it was very observable that circulating the room before the meeting, before the cameras were turned on, and before Ryan Walters entered the boardroom, was Representative Dick Lowe, who's a current House member. Dick Lowe was also, like this replacement for Ryan Walters, an ag teacher. And he was also an administrator at one of the techs, at Canadian Valley Tech, for a long time. This is the seam where education meets workforce. And we've talked a lot about that in the last year. Senate Bill 224 wrote in that seam where education meets workforce, and we want to collect all of your data from cradle to grave. Dick Lowe congratulated every one of the new board members exuberantly, and I will be bringing you that in photo form. very soon. And then he moved to the back of the room and sat with another member of the legislature, a freshman named Ellen, is it Poggemiller? It might be pronounced a different way, so sue me.
Don't ever offer that.
Don't ever.
Oh, no, that's okay. I mean, Oklahoma has an amazing anti-SLAPP law. If you tell the truth, they're paying your legal bills. So they ended up very close together, talking with heads together, with big smiles at the very back of the room during the meeting, side by side. She is a Democrat, extremely progressive Democrat. She is abortion on demand. She is trans rights. She marches in and puts on Facebook about immigration rights and being in those kind of things. She is very much give all the money that you can to public education because that's going to solve the problem. Okay. And she also happens to be, before she ran for a legislature seat, she was a lobbyist for several years for the Oklahoma Educators Association, the teachers union.
Nice.
So when you watch the king and queen of the subterfuge celebrating throughout the meeting, which was observable, you can see that it's all coming from the education establishment. So at the table, we have the spouse of the leader of the POE, which is the other teachers union. At the back of the room, high-fiving, we have the former lobbyist, now legislator, with what we have to call a uniparty rhino establishment candidate in Dick Lowe, really celebrating an education establishment himself. The other thing that we need to remember about Dick Lowe is in this last session, he and Danny Sterling, another representative, who also happens to be an ex-ag teacher and an ex-school administrator, so involved in all those unions at all levels, kind of a thing throughout their careers. They came together to put together a bill that they proposed that groups like Moms for Liberty quashed, grassroots groups, that tried to undo the protections that were just put in place. Like 6 months before, a law went into place that said teachers, coaches, ag teachers, no longer can you text with Oklahoma students one-on-one. You can't do any one-on-one digital. Don't be emailing them. Don't be texting them. Don't be calling them. You have to have a parent on board. So it didn't say you couldn't keep them informed, but Dick Lowe and Danny Sterling argued it's just too hard. And one of the things that one of them argued publicly was, if that kid's got an animal in the barn and that animal's sick, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to text the student. We're going to put the student's dad or mom or guardian on it. It was absurd.
Yeah.
The argument. So these are the people coming together who have now successfully pushed out the only elected official on the State Board of Education. So not one word at that table as they argued the last 5 minutes about reinstating teachers under investigation, not one word about parents, and not one word about kids and safety until Walters honestly verbally crammed it down their throat. It was a really one of the most important 5-minute exchanges that we've had in this public education discussion in quite some time.
So I wanted to pull in because I found it, Lyndall Field's LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it might be just kind of interesting to go through that. So let me see.
Basically, Katie, you're saying that the establishment is very excited about him coming in.
Oh, exuberant. You should have seen how Dick Lowe congratulated Chris Vandehand, who was appointed when Katie Cubido, Kendra Wesson, and Ronald Burdick were abruptly removed from the board. And we did the article about the offer from Governor Stitt. These are all his appointees to appoint or remove. Behind the scenes to Kendra Wesson of, guess what? We'll get you off this volunteer position and we'll put you on the Oklahoma Tax Commission where you'll get $160,000 salary. And to her credit, we need her in office.
Yeah, we do.
No, we are here to serve the people and to serve the kids. It's not happening.
Yeah.
So,
but to not necessarily play devil's advocate. I mean, are they just that excited that now Ryan is completely officially gone, or is it that this guy is coming in to take his place because he's gonna, be on, not be opposite of Ryan in some capacity?
Well, I cannot say. I don't have any information to know that this gentleman was already in place to take Ryan's place. I don't know that. I don't know when that decision was made. I don't know if the board members had knowledge of that. So I really can't speak to that. But I'm working on a much bigger piece about why.
Yeah.
Why would teachers' unions, who are obviously have a seat at the table now, they may actually own that table.
Yeah, probably.
Why they wouldn't be adamant about removing pedophiles from schools. And they have no argument. They have no valid argument anymore. Their actions, is exactly as Dayna said, speak far louder than their words. But there's a lot behind it. I'll be bringing you that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pull this in because this is very, very interesting. And I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger so you guys can see it a little bigger. So I think that's that's pretty good. Okay. So he has an organization now. So right now he has an organization that he created called Your Culture Coach. Okay. So that's what he's doing right now. This is his about. He's a nationally recognized leader in education and organizational culture. Who says organizational culture?
Do you know who does? The gentleman that I brought to you that opened the Yukon Public Schools pep rally for the school year, who also happened to be the
gay dude, the drag queen.
Yes, who actually at Western Heights hired Shane Mernon, who was a drag queen who had previous child porn charges. They do. So there's an educational consultant class. Mm-hmm. And it's money. It's your money. It's your money that is being spent through the districts to hire these folks to set the culture. Now, what culture is he setting? I can't say without further research, but thus far, I have yet to see one that probably would be parent approved in these programs.
Okay, well, let's finish what he says. So organizational culture with more than 3 decades of experience transforming schools. So he's been paid on our tax dollar already, right? Because the schools are paying him to be their culture coach. Yes. Agencies and businesses. As superintendent of Tri-County Tech, he led the organization, became the only public sector institution in history to earn both the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. And what do you say about awards, Katie?
Beware the awards in education. Always beware the awards. I've seen over and over again that someone is accused of all kinds of things, and to save them, they suddenly become administrator of the year by, again, the education establishment unions throw out a lot of awards, and a lot of the NGOs associated with education that, again, are being paid through contracts through the school system on our tax dollars, throw out a lot of awards to elevate the people who will carry their narrative.
In a place on Fortune's top 10 place to work list. Today, as CEO of Your Culture Coach, Lyndall equips leaders and organizations to build trust, strengthen communication, and deliver results that matter. His work spans education, tribal nations, state agencies, and private enterprise, all with a consistent focus, unleashing the potential of people to serve communities and fuel economic growth. So, really, so many problems just in that one short thing, unleashing. He uses that to serve communities. I thought it was serving individuals. We're serving students. If we're serving communities, we're socialists. That's what socialists do, is serve communities and fuel economic growth. They do that through the Chamber of Commerce. This is all about tracking kids from school to work and making businesses the top of the pyramid and not individuals the top of the pyramid. I believe public service is about stewarding people, resources, and opportunities so that every individual has a chance to thrive, whether in education, workforce development, or government. I've seen that strong leadership and healthy culture are the levers that move communities forward. That whole thing is just
Yeah.
full of, that's a word salad. full of a bunch
Every
of-
individual. I mean, that's DEI. I don't like up at the top, Jenny, just the transforming culture. I mean, do we really need to transform American culture? I mean, is that really what we need? Because they're transforming it, and the only people transforming it is the left. I mean, or the radical left, or the socialist, whatever. But do we really need to? And here's my deal: when we're talking about school, I don't even like the word culture even being associated with it. It needs to say transforming academics, or academics this, or academics that, or increasing academics in one way or another. I mean, that's
because that's all SEL.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see
Transformative
one thing
culture is
on
all
here that
SEL.
talks about hey, we're going to transform the proficiencies. We're going to move our kids up from 20% up to 60%, or I don't see anything like that other than, hey, let's make it all even playing field. The culture's changing. Let's make everybody feel included and healthy, and it's the same stuff.
Well, I thought this was interesting. So these are his posts, okay, on his page. So I'm going to his page.
And maybe I have it all wrong. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Correct.
Maybe let's just see.
Yeah, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I think it's important to see what he has on his LinkedIn account. I mean, I think that's important. It's public. We're not doing anything private. We're not sneaking under his covers here. Honored to spend the day with Governor Kevin Stitt's staff, alongside with Jessica Rimmer, PhD, leading the group through the 5 Voices framework from Giant Worldwide. So none of that sounds any good. I'm just going to say right now, none of that sounds any good. Where are we talking about academics? What's the academics in there?
Yeah.
I don't see it in Giant Worldwide. I'm dying to know what Giant Worldwide is. Oh, it's the Leaders Toolkit. Become, build, lead, Giant Worldwide.
Well, 2 things. So looks like he was a member board of advisors for the state chamber, and
Yes.
he has a certification for diversity and inclusion.
Where
Nothing
where
else.
did you
He's got
find
an actual
that? I saw the
certification
state
for
chamber
that,
thing.
Dayna.
Sorry?
I said he has an actual certification
Yeah.
for that.
It's from the Six Sigma Global Institute. It was issued January 20th. It gives his credential number. It's called Diversity and Inclusion Yellow Belt Certification.
No.
Under his licenses and certificates section.
Under his licenses. Well, because right here it says member of the board advisor, State Chamber of Oklahoma, because I had seen that earlier. So, and
right
here's the interesting thing. He is, where did it have that on there about the worldwide thing?
Under licenses.
Oh, there
and
he is. He's
certifications.
5 Voices certified
Yep.
by Giant Worldwide.
There you go, right there.
Oh, there it is, right there. A yellow belt.
He's also a yogi.
He's also a yogi?
Yes.
Okay, well, I do yoga, so let's not pick on that. But
No, it's okay. I mean, he's a healthy guy.
Well, I think probably maybe the most telling thing is like what you said, Katie, just with the celebration, that the public really didn't see that was going on in that room that you were talking about.
No, there was a lot going on. And the other really pressing observation. Oh, go ahead, Jenny. You're thinking something.
I'm not thinking. Look what it says. This is his publication, I guess. Strengthening Oklahoma's Workforce Pipeline starts with University Career Tech collaborations. Do we have pipelines for children?
Hopefully not. I'd like to think
Like when you go
more
to
free.
the hospital and I've had 4, I don't ever remember them coming out of a pipeline. Well, I mean, I guess, no, let's not go there. But the point of the matter is, what?
Yeah. Well, look at the, it's just that word itself, has a meaning in one way. And we've covered it multiple times with Julianne on the show, and just all the language that they use in order to make things happen. It's all those buzzwords, and pipeline is one of those buzzwords. And Julianne covered that pretty extensively. I mean, I think we did an entire podcast just on the pipeline in Oklahoma, Jenny.
The power of an engaged workforce. When did we decide that we were China and we don't have individuals anymore because we're a workforce or we're a community? Or why do people not understand how important these words are? Words have meaning. They mean something. And for the Marxists, they mean not what we want them to mean. I mean, oh my goodness, I'm so disappointed. Well, I mean, I'm not shocked. Don't get me wrong. This is not shocking. There's no shocking here. But I'm just saying ick. I miss that, like Julia said.
Did this guy have, is there any connection with this guy and Ryan at all, like that you know of or saw, Katie, or anything?
I have not. He was not on the screen. I'm not terribly surprised because I definitely see this shift, and I see this shift with some of the power players and education establishment now coming from the tech world. When before it was sort of the big superintendents of particularly the big suburban schools who were the power players in the politics behind public ed. Now we're shifting to, with this whole push of workforce development, we're shifting to people coming out of tech, stepping into those roles and being, lockstep with the legislature. So when we saw the teachers walk out and we saw a bunch of educators running for office, I believe we're kind of in the aftermath, the wake of that, because a lot of those legislators who ran for and gained office and then, left education and came into politics are this bridge for all of this. And there was a lot of money behind that. They helped their campaigns. They helped them learn how to run a campaign. They helped get them into office. So you have to kind of look back at the money there, that everything's always 5 or 10 years later, we're sitting under the effects of what they're working on, what they were working on back then. So no, I'm not surprised that he came from the tech world at all, the tech system.
Well, I think anybody that's on here going to listen in the future, I'd like, if someone files a new Awareness type of case, I'd like to see if the response changes, here over the next 6 months.
Right. So I think there'll definitely be some shifting. I think we need to watch what happens with that. And so people are coming to myself or other journalists about being shut out again and about the district hiding something that's happened to their child on school time. We'll have to really be watching what happens with those. We'll also have to be watching what happens with this team that is at the State Department of Education. They have a highly qualified investigative team. And I've watched it sort of honed as I've been involved in these cases and talking to these victims and families who are funneling information through the Awareness system, which eventually is assigned to an investigator, and they start digging in. And we'll have to see what happens with that. So they have these people on staff now. Some of them are 20-year law enforcement detectives, just really qualified. What's going to happen with that? And they've been funneling those cases to the board. They don't make any of those decisions. They gather all of the facts and they funnel it to the board. And then the board considers suspending that certification or passing it on. What are they going to do with it after they suspend it? We pass it on to the due process and to a hearing officer, who then it's like a chance for those folks to present, the accused person to present their entire part of the story, to have representation there. We really have a true picture of what did or didn't happen. And under Joy Hoffmeister, that didn't happen. That just did not happen. The only time that her administration actively addressed a perpetrator within the schools is if it was already out in the media, is if that person had been arrested and prosecuted, and then we're going to go back and we're going to take their certification and we're going to make a big deal about it in the news, like we're protecting kids. So we need to be watching that process very, very closely. And so do parents. Yeah. Parents need to be watching what's happening in their district, because there's sort of an assumption here that some protections are going away.
Well, I think that was probably the most, in my opinion, probably one of the most hated things that Ryan did, was that actual real enforcement of that, because a parent they could actually go around all of the smoke and mirrors that the districts were putting up, with issues with their kids.
I would make the argument, after looking at this from so many angles and people involved, that it is the issue and the reason that they spent a year systematically attacking Walters. And when we saw every tactic possible, coming from the legislature, coming from the attorney general pulling away their attorneys, coming from accusing him of withholding funds, which wasn't true, all the way down to the ridiculousness of something popped up on a TV that he had nothing to do with in executive session. And if you'll notice, he's not going into, before he left, he wasn't going to go into executive session with those people again behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't work. It would just be another scandal. So, yeah, we're definitely in some quicksand right here. It's scary.
Call it deep doo-doo.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we will see what happens, but we have to be really diligent. And how did we get here? How did we get Ryan Walters? People were dragging this stuff out into the sunlight. Public pressure is the only tool sort of the grassroots parents groups have on their side right now. They don't have anyone at that table, not one.
No, but I gotta say this, and I'm sure it'll earn me some more hate mail, but we don't, and Michael, you'll agree with me on this, hate mail or not.
Maybe.
If you will, because I said so. Do you not know how our relationship works? Everybody else does. But you and I have talked about this a million times. All of us, frankly, who are on here right now have talked about it a million times. You go to your school board meeting. How many parents are there?
Couple.
Sometimes none. Well, Let me put it this way. There might be some parents there. I've been to a lot of school board meetings in towns that I don't even live in. And there'll be some parents there, but when they get up to talk at the open comment section, they're typically also employed by the district. So not many.
They're not staying around. They're waiting for their kid to get their little certificate or be recognized or whatever, and then they're out. So I'm losing, as a taxpayer, I'm losing faith in parents, because if you're so busy earning a living that you can't pay attention to what's going on with your kid, then why did you have kids? And if you're going to put your kid in a public school, my God, my kids were in public schools for 3 years. But in elementary school, that's where we started. But I was at I was up there. Pretty much every single day. I was in the moms group before they kicked me out because I was too political. I'm not kidding. That's part of the reason we left homeschooling, is that I couldn't be president of the PTA because I was too political.
Imagine.
So, but in all seriousness, guys, why is it that we're the ones arguing for the rights of parents that don't give a rat's butt what's going on in their kids' school? Do you know how many times as a teacher I had parent-teacher meetings where I had, a list of slots that were open and 3 were filled?
Well, I'm gonna push back a little bit on you there, because my observation is it is much harder to be involved in your kids' everyday education now in a public school than it was, say, when I had kids who were in elementary school. It is not open door anymore. We have a war going on between our public schools and parents. They're not on the same page anymore. Schools aren't, and I'm not saying every school, I'm sure there's some. If you have a great school that's completely welcoming to you, parents don't go past the front desk anymore. Parents have to, and I get security, have to be buzzed in. It is not an open door anymore. You can't just walk in with a surprise for anybody anymore. And there's an intentional effort to exclude parents from the voting process. If you think about everything we know about when elections are, and that most parents don't even know they happen, and schools are really good at meeting the minimum of communication standards, where you put a piece of paper on a glass door to say there's going to be a school board meeting that no one ever sees, because you don't even allow them to come up to the glass door. They have to stay in line in their car, right? So parents have been boxed out of this process. I don't believe that it's that they don't care. And when a parent does, I've seen it over and over again. when a parent does have something happen and they come to the school to have it rectified and it's serious and their emotions are involved now, which they should be, that's your child. I've seen them banned from the school for being too emotional in their communications with administrators. So there has been brick by brick a wall built to keep parents out of the process, which is why you see them showing up at school meetings. And by the time they get there, they're irate.
But hold on, I'm going to push back against you.
You can.
Push me, pull you. We've been through COVID now.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us learned from COVID that, you know what, you can tell me to do something, but I'm going to tell you I may make a rude gesture. Their parents have all the power, but for whatever reason, they neglect or can't figure out how. I mean, if you would have 50 people show up at those meetings and say, do it to me again. Do it to me again. Put my kid in that. I mean, these people would finally step down. But the way you do anything, any authoritarian only works. An authoritarian's rule only works by fear. That's it. That's because people are like, I'm not doing what you say, but well, you will do what I say, or I'll break your arm, or I'll take away all your stuff, or I'll, whatever. So they only rule by fear, but fear only works if there aren't enough people to come in behind and overrun that system. I mean, we could look at the history of France and talk about this all day, but their parents can do it. Why aren't they doing it?
Well, I've already we've talked about it a couple times, Jenny. In my opinion, because we had some massive parent rallies in Edmond and like in a lot of these other schools. I mean, we were at every single school board meeting. There was 100 of us, and they just, the board and all the people there, the administrators, they just took it, but they knew that the attrition of time, the attrition would take us out. They just literally waited us out. They just wait us out. It goes from 100 down to 90, down to 80, down to 50, down to 30, 20, and now a couple years later, now you're right back. And it's hard for people to just be, let's say, as hardcore as us to, stay in there and keep fighting. And on the other side of that, I mean, I can't tell you how many parents I talk to that's just like, I'm tired of the way that, when I speak up or whatever, I make a ruckus, but then now, I'm targeted, my kids are targeted, and they don't want to deal with it. It's just at that. I mean, it's easy to just say, hey, let's all show up and just, make something change, but it just doesn't work like that because they can just wait us out. They'll just
okay, but
Hold on, I have a question. So for parents, like I ask parents this, like, what is your breaking point, right? Like, at what point do you decide that what's happening in our schools is not okay? I mean, I just talked about at a meeting last night about a Yukon and the Yukon school district where they're letting an organization come in to talk to your kids about their private parts. So at what point, where's your line, like as a parent, right? Because so many of us have had to unlearn and relearn the things that we thought we knew or didn't know. And like it's been mentioned, it's very different now trying to get into the school. Used to, I could go sit in with one of my kids throughout the day in class when he was misbehaving. Now it's like an act of Congress to get through the front desk, and it's all under the guise of safety and security. But at what point is it too far? So, or even if you want to review something, it's an act of Congress to be able to do that. Yeah. If a parent wants the classroom catalog to their library in their classroom, it's another act of, there's a constant fight every time a parent wants to see something, question something. And then the other thing is retaliation. I've experienced that myself with my own children. And, what do? I just keep pushing. But not everybody is built that way. And I get that, what I would do is not what others would do. But as far as, there's a certain lines, right? What is too far? If you're going to talk to my kindergartner, first grader about their private parts, every parent should be up in arms, like just not up in arms, you know what I mean? But like, you'd be so mad, right? You'd be up at that school talking to them and trying to figure out, why is this group able to come in here and talk to my kid about that? Those are conversations that parents only should be having with their kids, not the schools. And then it goes on to talk about what a safe adult is in the same presentation. This is where they start trying to train them about a safe adult. So as a parent, every parent has to think about that. What is your line? What are you willing to do for your kid?
Well, and Dayna and Michael brought up these interesting points that if you sort of put them together, about where is your line, and Michael's talking sort of about where is the power and how they can just wait you out. We have to start thinking about the public ed establishment in our public schools as having a deep state. It is no different than DC, because you're going to be outraged about your fifth grader and something that happened or something that was done in class. But guess what? You're moving on to the junior high next year, and then they don't have to deal with you. So those strong voices move through and they're out. But these administrators and these teachers, and I'm not talking about good teachers. I see you all out there. Oh my goodness, most of you are great teachers. I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. They're going to be there for 30 plus years, no matter what you do. And they have become so incredibly rigid and inflexible. They've become less transparent, as Dayna's saying. Try to get information out of a school. It's harder to get open records out of a school than it is the police department or the courts.
100%.
Which is crazy. And that's your local school. You have a personal relationship with them. So it has become, the deep state is in control. I've said it for many years. We have a war going on between parents and public ed. I'm not sure exactly when it started, but now we're in an ideological custody battle for our kids. It's been that way for some time, and they have no interest. At that school board meeting, those people who are in control now never once mentioned parents in their argument. They need a special meeting to take care of the teachers.
And just to make one more point, Jenny, because I know you want to chime in on all that, but just to make one more point, and I'm not giving parents a pass, but I'm just telling you, this is how it is. In today's time, people are just systematically being desensitized, across the board to all of this stuff because of all the media, their phones, what's on the internet. So what bothers you or me, to a certain degree, whether it's something with sexuality or that other parents are like, oh, they see that all the time. And, I get that all the time. It's just like when I was talking to people at the door about the library books. Oh, I don't really think that's a big deal. They see that when they play video games, so you have this systematic desensitization kind of across the board, not just with parents, but with kids also. Kids have no idea, they're just seeing all this stuff. They have no idea that it's, that their school should not be showing them or doing them or telling them this at the same time. So it's like it's a compounding effect of all of it at the same time.
Well, and I see that, but let me give you this is just my perspective as a teacher. So don't forget, I went home. So I quit teaching in 2002 in public schools. So I taught from 1997 to 2002 in Oklahoma public schools. And I'm going to tell you, this is what I experienced as a teacher in those years. I was the problem. Parents were the most important. If I said anything that a parent didn't like, I was immediately called into the principal's office and either tissed or threatened with my job. I would say, you need to come in and do this. I need to talk to you about your kid. Well, I don't have to. I have blah, blah, blah. And I had some good parents. Yeah, obviously. I'm not talking about the good parents. I'm talking about the problem ones. So, this was the way it was. As a matter of fact, I didn't come back because I thought sort of a little bit about maybe coming back and subbing or getting back into teaching, after we had our first son. Actually, my husband said no, I was to be a stay-at-home mom, which was fine. And I was happy with that. That's what I wanted to do. But I wouldn't have gone back anyway because it was just a constant slog. You couldn't do anything because the parents always had some kind of cudgel over your head and were beating you around that head and shoulders if you weren't treating their perfect child in the perfect way that you want. So what ended up happening was, back then, the administration was way out, letting parents do whatever they wanted to do, putting us, the teachers, and anybody who is a teacher can chime on in here. I'll get to comments here in a little bit, and tell me if I'm wrong or if they didn't see the same thing back then. But I do think that was all orchestrated, because then what it did was it showed the parents to be the problem children. So now we can't have these parents doing this because they're going to treat you like this. So we'll just step up and take over for you because you can't do it yourself. Parents never noticed this. It was the frog in the boiling water thing. And then they wake up and go, oh my gosh, I can't even get into my kid's school. Well, number one, when you can't get into your kid's school, at that point, you either stage a coup, and I'm not kidding. You just go, it's my paid for it. I'm going in whether you like it or not, arrest me. And I know there aren't a lot of parents like me. I get it. Mm-hmm. But if you're not like me, grab a friend. Or we're going in anyway because my kid's in this class and I'm going to sit here quietly and that's what I'm going to do. I own this building because you do.
Well, I can tell you, I specifically popping to the front of my mind is a case where then the parent got a protective order against them by the school and the local law enforcement enforced it. So we're in a different era. And Jenny, not all parents are the same. We all experienced it. You know, the PTA, not a lot of PTA heads are good, I know, but there are some that, you know, we saw the influx of the helicopter moms and then it became the lawnmower moms who were going to make everything perfect for their kids. So there was that for teachers to deal with. It's never just a homogenous group. It's a really complicated issue, the relationship between parents and schools.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with that at all, Jenny. I mean, I can actually see that plan because that's how the government grows its power anyways, because the little guy can't seem to handle the situation no matter what it is, whether it's some type of disaster, economic riots, you know, in one way or another, whatever it is, your little guy can't do it. And you see it, you know, with these cases where like the government's got to come in because your local police department can't handle the situation. So the bigger, you know, the state police or the feds have to come in and handle, you know, it's that same deal. And I guess you're right. They probably put that into action by allowing parents to go ballistic over a matter of years and then saying, okay, these local school districts can't handle it. So we need to put policies in to really stop this from happening. I mean, I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, there's a, you know, you think about how many kids go to public schools, how many families are involved, the range of different challenges and the range of ability to be able to homeschool and economically even to be able to do that. It's all over the place. So, you know, educating kids has never been easy, but we've definitely seen parents be more boxed out of the process. And John Boy made a really interesting point I'm going to put up. They don't want parents there. A lot of school districts don't. It shows it when the school boards put their meetings at 4:30. I mean, I remember being in a PTA meeting and I was working, not working, job sharing. We have a business, all of that throughout. So I was sort of in and out. And I remember being in a PTA meeting one time when they were all going off about if parents care, they'd be here. And I was like, it's 9:30 in the morning. Where do you think they are? They're money to put food on the table. So there is an internal education culture that's very judgmental about parents without really.
No, and I will agree with you. And why is the state board meeting at 11 or 10 o'clock in the morning? I mean, how many parents are really going to be able to do that? Let's get some of these comments in though. Just in case somebody's on my side and I can say ha ha to the rest of you. Katie and Jenny, I do hope you do more X Spaces. You both did a phenomenal job of getting the word out on the issue. The only reason I put that in there, not because I think either Katie or I need a slap on the back, but thank you very much, Earl's daughter. I appreciate you. It's just that we did do an X Space on Sunday, and I don't know, maybe Katie and I and Dayna and whoever wants to will do another one. It was kind of I think I learned quite a bit. What about you, Katie?
Oh, it was illuminating, and there's some fallout from it that I will be writing about.
It was pretty illuminating.
Not everyone expressing opinions within the public ed debate is who they say they are.
Is who they say they are. And then you just got the John Boy comment. Connie said, if they don't like your message, they don't allow you to speak. And that's true. They'll mute you. True. Yeah. So there is that. And it's like a jail visit going to and it is very intentional. They're offering their children up to this predatory system. And, you know, again, well, we'll talk about that legislator. Katie, facts. But I do believe that if more parents got involved, we would see some change. The school system has done a great job indoctrinating parents that they have no parental rights. And that
so
is
true.
it.
That's the point. Yes.
Girl's daughter, bingo. I always hate it when this happens because I'm like, I don't remember what the amen was for. They will take it out on the kids.
They won't.
And this is why your conference, Oklahoma Liberty, is so essential, Jenny. We must re-educate the younger parents. I agree. So come.
Michael, don't you think it's a lot like open records requests? How many times have you been helping something and you're like, yes, that happens under taxpayer dollars. You have a right to that information. And they're like, oh, sometimes it's even school board members.
Yeah.
When I've said to school board members that I've interviewed, well, you can walk into that district at any time as an elected school board member and ask for all the financials you're saying that you want to see. Yeah. And they were like, really? That's not what the OSSBA trained me to do.
Katie, I had a school board member contact me, and Jenny, we spoke to him one time on the phone together, but he couldn't even get the financial statement from his own school district. He was trying to look at some finances that, he thought was maybe questionable. They wouldn't even allow him to have his, it was like they literally told him that he's not allowed to have that information he's at a small school district. And I said, that's BS. So we had to write an actual open records request in his school district so he could get the financial data that he was looking for.
It's almost
a school board member.
He's a school board member. Yeah.
That's insane. It's almost like this local level of what the Chevron decision says, that bureaucrats can't just add rules that change the law and take away your rights, particularly to transparency. It's crazy. It's every level.
But who's going to hold them accountable? Who's going to hold them to that?
Yeah.
Well, and see, here's the thing, Dayna. I'm giving you 2 thumbs up on that comment because it's like what you said, Katie, and I'll give you a thumbs up just because I love you. It's so true. And Katie, I think you've probably done the best job of illuminating this through all of your writings. You can follow the law. You can follow what you're supposed to do as a parent, but even our judicial system is so screwed up that they are in the same boat with, we don't really care about you, the taxpayers who are paying our salary. We just care about, all of our little group of people that we like. So that's where when there's no justice in the judicial system, you're right. It is very hard. How, as a parent, are you going to be able to do anything when the judicial system gives you the giant middle finger?
It's true. And that's why, this was all going downhill off the cliff in such a big way. And then we saw groups, particularly like Moms for Liberty, that Dayna's involved with. And that was a really interesting speed bump. It's one of the first times. And so when you see that loudmouth mom at your district, don't shun her, pat her on the back, because they've done more to push back against those intrusions on parents' rights than anyone. And that's why they get attacked so often.
Yeah.
Well, and because typically by the time they're speaking out in public like that, they've already been going through and jumping through multiple hoops with the district, sending this, doing this, asking this question. So by the time they get to the public speaking out, they're already so frustrated, and they probably sound, maybe they sound a little crazy. I don't know. But if it gets people's attention as to what's happening, because you almost will always get people who will privately message you or contact you privately somehow to say, hey, thank you for doing that. Or, hey, I thought the same thing, but they wouldn't help me, or they wouldn't do this. And so love it. Yeah. So
yes, what she says. Okay. Julie, exactly. My children lived through that, and I'm a fighter. Karen says, just like a city council meeting. And that's a good point. I have to give that one to you, Karen, because it is. So think about it like this. So for years, we felt like the people we elect were going to do the job that they said that they told us that they were going to do when we elected them. So we didn't go to the meetings. We didn't pay attention to what they were doing. And basically they screwed us. They stabbed us all in the back, but we weren't paying attention. And so now you pay attention. You're like, wait, that's not what I wanted you to do. And they go, I'm already in here. Get me out. That's how it works. So, so many of our problems were caused by us wanting to believe the system, and we just have to realize that there isn't a system.
For sure.
Oh, and hey, Karen asked, and wasn't that private parts thing for kindergarten on up?
Yeah, that's for elementary.
Ooh, keep your eyes on UConn schools.
Mhm.
The new superintendent is very politically connected in all of this that we're talking about. We talked about who kicked off their school year at their big old convocation. Keep an eye on them, because that's UConn parents, heads up.
Well, look at this. Just yesterday, my son Cade, he's at Sequoia Middle
Okay.
School in Edmond, and he came home and he's like, hey, we had this deal on suicide today. I'm like, what? So I went over to Lauren. I'm like, what is going on? I said, you're supposed to be opted out of all these things. Well, she went crazy, and they said, oh yeah, we forgot, we had to change that, and we forgot to mail out, to all the, let all the parents know that conference did, that was going on today, but it's okay. We'll fix that in the future. I mean, that's literally how they do it. I mean,
There's exactly how they do it.
Yeah, there's no accountability for that. I mean, I was pretty hot.
I would be too. And it's like, you talk to parents and they tell you their story and they say, can they do that to me? And my answer is no, under the law, they can't, but they just did. They just did. And
Again, who's gonna hold them accountable?
Yeah.
I mean, the laws that they have are really just an illusion, right? Like, I mean, who's gonna hold them? Not their school boards aren't going to do it. I mean, because the school boards don't even realize that they're the ones, have as much power as they have. So
thank you, OSSBA. The Oklahoma Public Schools have been letting Disney teach inappropriate sex education for years. And when I would tell other parents, they'd look at me like I was crazy. Disney? No. And that is part of the problem. Hello, parents. Get up to speed. Get up to speed. Oh, my goodness. Everything you see on the national level, you see right here in your own backyard, and that's true. Great teachers should band together with parents and stop this mess. And, it's funny, Michael, you and I, Julia, when we were all on together, we used to talk about that. Yes, there are good teachers out there, but why aren't the good teachers banding together with parents and trying to stop this? And
well, they're so demonized at school. And I can tell you, because when I ran for school board, I literally there were multiple good teachers that would text me and just say, hey, 100% for you. There's several of us here. We cannot say a single word. If we do, we'll just be completely ostracized and demonized at the school, but we're for you. Keep going, 100%. We're behind you. And I, every day, like on a lunch break or something, they'd be texting me, information or this or that. And they were so upset, and several of them quit, when we didn't win, but they are so blackballed in the system. And who wants, I know that it's important to stand up for yourself and kids and right and wrong, but who can really do that every single day in your career, and if you get fired here, where are you going to go? Who else is going to hire you when you've got, that stigma of, maybe going against the system as a teacher? I mean, my heart goes out to them because they're in just a total lose-lose situation.
It's a bit like the term limit thing. It's a double-edged sword. So if you're a teacher, you're always on a 1-year contract. You're always on a 1-year contract. And if you have a board that's politically opposed to your stance, or you're just standing up for parents and they are not of that mindset, May is coming when they vote on who they're going to fill those slots with next year, and they can do it with impunity. So we know that. It's just like term limits. We wanted term limits here, and I was one of those people who thought it would be good that we'd get rid of the bad, but that's not really what's worked, because it's the system that is the deep state is very good at training the new bad legislators to come in and take their spot. It is much harder to find a people's pure of purpose representative to step into that spot, which brings me sort of to definitely what I want to hear from all of you and from the viewers. One of the most important things happening in education, it didn't really matter to me who Stitt put in the interim, because we've watched on the State Board of Education with his last 5 picks, and we know they're not going to be parent oriented. So whoever they put in a state superintendent, it's going to be a bad year, is what I will tell you in the next year. But what's most important is 6 months. we have to see who's going to step up to run for that spot as the elected person after what they saw Ryan Walters go through.
Yeah.
Who are we going to get? And again, never a day in my life as elected as a registered Republican or Democrat. So this is not a partisan issue. This is a uniparty versus the people issue.
And Katie, what's that board? Is there a term on that board, or just whenever the new governor comes in, they just appoint the board, or how does the board work?
Yes, these are governor appointed positions. They're his to appoint and his to remove, as we saw back in January or February when things weren't going his way. Ryan Walters wasn't being compliant, continued to revoke teaching certificates, and he ripped 3 what I call parent-centered board members.
Yeah.
We get a taste of what it could be like if people were sticking up for kids and parents at the top of public education, and then the establishment and the unions took it back over. We need a very strong candidate who has incredible support.
John Boy says, and don't forget, John Boy was a teacher. Administration was for themselves, and the teacher had to deal with the parents. It was you, the teacher, who caused the problem, or so the administration acted. Been there, done that.
Mm-hmm.
Parents are too trusting and often complacent. Just look at those who don't opt out of medical paperwork, etc. And Karen says, I learned that from Dayna. The involved parents have checked out of the public school system, which is why the government is pushing funding of private and homeschooling areas to get their foot in the door.
Such a good point. We've seen such a flow to homeschooling, to faith-based schooling, to private education because of what's happened in the public ed. So there you go, Jenny. Your strong voices said, not my kid.
Mm-hmm. True, but it's like Robert's saying. I mean, Robert and his wife Andrea and Jana Belcher and all of our homeschooling friends, they have a group where they're watching what the legislation is to try to get control over homeschool. So, and part of it is, here, we'll give you some money if you want to homeschool. And then they suck them into the system. So we'll have, that if we're not careful. And Jana
and
says,
don't forget, there was a bill that they were trying to get passed that if you chose to homeschool, you had to go through a background check with DHS for every adult in your home in order to be able to homeschool. So,
they already
she
live
left.
there.
She left. That woman left. When I taught, I had the parent who sued for school for calling I guess I'm not sure. She didn't quite get that in. Calling their child by his legal name. Parents had lied to him and expected school to protect that he's adopted. What? When I taught, I had the parents who sued the school for calling their child by his legal name. Parents had lied to him and expected the school to protect that he was adopted.
Oh, the child didn't know he was adopted and somehow the previous name got on paperwork? That sounds like a paperwork error somewhere.
Yeah, that's a bad juju.
Yeah.
Everything is subjective.
That would be very upsetting. Very upsetting.
Or they go into an executive session, Katie Smith, and keep you out of it completely because we know you don't. None of us like that. It's a two-sided evil. If teachers stand up as they should, then we lose the few good ones, and that's what you guys were talking about. That's right. That's the problem, that they'd all stand up at the same time. They'd see that they're in great numbers, and then I love John. I was going to say something about, I keep scooting around over here and then I had to get off a minute. It's just, and it's not that I'm hurting. I'm just uncomfortable. I can't get it to, be where I'm comfortable. So I don't have ADHD necessarily. I just can't get my leg comfortable where I'm sitting. I'm sorry about all the moving around. Same with business owners. There's kind of a good point there. So how many good teachers are there per school? 3, 10, 30? Are they all scared? The Bible says, fear not, over and over and over for a reason. A friend of mine ran for school board in Owasso. There is still a sizable portion of teachers that want an outsider, but not enough. He was only able to pull 46% of the vote. And this is going to sound super conspiracy theory, and I don't mean to go in this direction, but I have to tell you, especially when looking at Michael's race in Edmond, and the fact that all of these races come up 46, 48, 49, 40. I think there's a voting issue. I mean, I'm really sorry, but I think there's something wrong with the election process. I'm sorry.
Well, which is why I will continue to say one of the most important pieces of legislation that somehow we have got to get through is moving school board elections to November.
Yes. And why do we do
Well,
that?
just to reiterate again, you know, look at how many, Jenny. So you ran the bill to move school board elections. After I lost, we got with Sherry Conley, and she wrote a bill that got killed there to move school board elections. And it's the same people constantly that are killing those bills, and it's all Republicans. But like in my race,
you have to do air quotes when you say Republicans, Michael. Be accurate. All Republicans.
But in my race, and Wendy Dial was the one that's like, Michael, you need to go canvass every single one of those absentee ballots. And guess what? The county election board wouldn't give me the addresses of the people that voted absentee. First of all. Second, in my race alone, there was more absentee ballots cast against me than if you put all the other school board races together for total absentee ballots even cast, period.
Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Well, and don't forget Robert Keyes. You know, we have had 2 interviews with Robert Keyes about his election and the fact that when he went back to recount the absentee ballots, he found multiple problems. Yeah. So, and don't forget, my issue was the absentee ballots, which is why I tried to be on the board and was on the board for the Oklahoma County election, or the Oklahoma County Election Board. And then obviously I got kicked off because.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and with Robert also, Jenny, remember they wanted him to settle in that closed session court deal that wasn't even not even accessible to the public on top of it, which is unbelievable.
So tell me there's not something going on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Tell me there's something going on by pretending there's not something going on.
Exactly. I mean, is this an issue that's going to have to be a state question?
I'm at 100% with Robert. I mean, the absentees are all you need, and you need one corrupt notary. Election tampering is not a conspiracy theory anymore. I'm telling you, I just believe that the absentee I mean, I've seen it too many times. I was with Cheryl Janis when they recounted her election, but they will only recount the machine votes. That's it. They will not recount the absentee ballots. And if you want those recounted, you have to do what Robert said. You have to go genuflect, kiss somebody's ring, run around the world 16 times, make sure you put, I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing to get the absentee ballots counted. Well, if that's the case, if there was nothing to hide, why can't you just go count the absentee ballots? If there's nothing to hide, why won't they just give out the addresses so that we could canvass those ballots? Just saying. That's all I'm saying, is what I'm saying.
Agreed. No red flags there.
Bingo. Well, on paper ballots or hand counted are true. Okay, so we're at 2:03. Anything you guys want to tie up with a ribbon here?
I just want to tell you that the Oklahoma elections ethics guardian system is still blacked us out.
But wait, Dana, it's October 1st. Wasn't it supposed to be up?
I know. It says launching soon, October 1st, and I'm pretty sure it's October 1st, and it's 11 o'clock. And I just checked again, and we're still locked out.
Thank you for checking.
Yeah. So that's about two weeks now. I think we've been locked out.
At least, yes.
And Connie's right. You have to verify them, not just count them. And then I know I have this problem with that thing. I feel like sense is common, and it's not. And I love that. I don't identify. I'm identifying as a conservative. What is it that Janice Danforth said one time that cracked me up? I'm Janice Danforth. My pronouns were, what did she say? It was so funny. Conservative or something. I thought it was funny. So anything else as we close up? Dayna, put your let's put your email back up there again before we get out of here. Hold on, I'm copying and pasting. Okay, so if you would like to reach out to Dayna about the new system that they're working on for legislation, don't forget, we have a bill of $10,000. I've already pledged $100 myself. So I'm expecting everybody else is going to say, yay, Jenny did it. So I will too. If you can't do 100, do 10, do 1. I don't care, but let's get this going. We just need to do that. If you want to get in touch with Dayna about that and find out where you can donate, please go to Moms for Liberty, OKLC at gmail.com. So I'm going to leave that up until we get out of here.
Or if you want to join us as a group, be part of that with us, reach out, please. We would love to have you.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Are we good? Oh,
All right.
Friday, we are going to have the best podcast. So we're going to have a preacher from Tulsa. His name is Chris Stevens. He's going to come on and talk about the homeless situation. Ooh. You can't miss this. Look at me. Look, I'm looking right at you. You can't miss this. This is going to be so great. He sent me some stuff on email this morning and I was like, oh, no way. I think you guys are going to be shocked at what you find Chris is going to tell you. I wasn't shocked, but I'm just, you're always just surprised at how screwed up everything is. But I'm hoping, I've asked him to give you guys on Friday some ways to be able to go out and make some change in this. So please show up on Friday and listen to Chris Stevens talk about the homelessness issue in Oklahoma. I think you're going to really enjoy that. So anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, here was our podcast with Julianne. This podcast was so good. Some of the stuff Julianne talked about was so mind-blowing. Not just, because they kind of frame all this all the time like it's so local. We're trying to create local jobs and local, but Julianne goes way up, the ladder, like globally, to the UN and all these other documents and books that are published, kind of internationally, to specifically push this pipeline issue, which is just unbelievable. And then just for all of us, one of my favorite quotes, I just want to put it up here again by Mark Twain. In the beginning of change, the patriot is a scarce man and a brave and hated and scorned. When his cause succeeds, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. And that's why we can't stop. We can't stop because sooner or later, the timid are going to join us. The people that are afraid to speak out or, don't want to have the responsibility or get blackballed or whatever, sooner or later, they will come around and we just have to stay on it. We literally do.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being on with us today. And Dayna, thank you so much for being on with us today. But not just that. Thank you for doing what you do. I mean, really, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're like five Daynas in one.
Gosh. That's why I'm so tired.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you, and we'll see you again Friday morning at 9 a.m. Be with us and share the podcast always. Thank you. Bye.